Going. What's up, people? Hopefully everybody's making their way in. We're gonna start off. We're gonna watch the man Rougarou. He went down to Leeville Pier. If you can read this right here, Leeville Pier, fishing for a speckled trout off the pier. We're not gonna watch this whole video, but looks like the action down there is really nice in the summer right now. Well, while it's warm, it should only get better into the fall. And so that's always an option if you want to go catch some fish. You don't have to have a boat or fancy gear or anything. You just want to use some small lures, small 2-inch sparkle beetles, crappie lures, sac-a-lait jigs, small little jerk baits, anything that's going to resemble like a small minnow. Looks like on here they're using some kind of little small jerk bait. But yeah, anything that resembles a little small bait, you can bring your light tackle and catch you some fish like that. That's the way to go. Anybody in here? Shout yourself out. Let me know you're in here. Let's check out what my man M Hood's doing. Mark, he moved out the city. I think he moved up to Mississippi somewhere. So he's out there doing some river fishing. Back to his roots, it seems like almost. This is what we first started watching Mark do on YouTube back in the day. He's been doing a lot of it up in Mississippi, in the Mississippi River. He also got some merchandise. I'm about to buy me a shirt. This is what I really want. Shout out to Mark. Go check out Mark's merchandise. Support. I'm about to give me one of these. It's gonna be fire. Yeah, you're right. What up, Dan? What up, Gustavo? I'm about to order me one of these as soon as I get off of here. What up, Josh? Hey, welcome back, Josh. Wait, let's go back. What else he said? What else? What other kind of merchandise Mark got? Where'd it go? Oh, he just got the generic. What up, Nolans 504? Who that? We that? What's up, John? Man, I gotta give me one of these. I guess today we're gonna talk about, got a little kayak tournament coming up, so that's kind of like got my head turning. What's up, Mark? Got a kayak tournament coming up at the end of the month on the 28th. I know I probably talked about it a little bit last week. So that's got my head, got me in that kind of mood of focusing on figuring out what needs to be done to catch these fish for this tournament. So I guess we're going to talk about that. It's the Bayou Coast Kayak Club Rumble on the River. We'll go through the rules real quick. I get the comments later than everybody else. Yeah, it's like on a delay. Like, I'm talking about what I'm talking about, but then you guys are watching it after I talk. I don't know. It's you guys on the delay. It's not me. But yeah, it's a redfish tournament. It's going to be held. Let's see. Where's the boundaries? Where is that part at? The object is to catch 2 redfish within the tournament slot. This is new. They've never done this before, but it's the tournament slot of 22 inches and less than 27 inches. And you have to catch 2 total fish. The weigh-in will begin at 2 p.m. in the parking lot next to Hooters on Belle Chase Highway. And cutoff time will be 3 p.m. Yeah, that's what I thought, Dan. So like I'm talking about something in the future. That's weird, Gustavo. Maybe you're ahead of time. Hey, how you doing down there, Gustavo? Y'all have any effects from this storm? From the what's it called? The Hurricane Dorian? What's it looking like down there in Florida right now? Uh, what else is going on? Entry fee. Entry fee is $31.50, and I think they have a $5 big fish and a $5 leopard red Calcutta. So more ways to win. You got 3 ways to win in this tournament. You can catch a big 2-fish stringer, or you can catch a leopard red or the biggest redfish within the slot. Nothing happened. Wow, that's cool. That's good to know. That's good. I'm glad y'all were spared from the worst of it. There's a free youth division, so get the kids involved. If y'all got some kids that like to fish kayaks, anybody 12 or under can fish for free, and they can still win the big prize. So that might be like your best investment. Like, get you a kid that could fish, and you just win all the money. What else they got going on? So the boundaries. Where are the boundaries at? The boundaries. I know they have to talk about boundaries. The boundaries include all of St. Bernard Parish and all of Plaquemines Parish. So you got a lot of areas to fish. So I guess we'll talk about I guess the different launches they have in that area, in those areas. You got a wide variety of places you can fish in Plaquemines and St. Bernard, and it's all really good red fishing. Whoa. All right. So, what up, Charles? I've been seeing you catching them sheephead, man. In what is that? Shell Beach, you've been catching them. It look like you're figuring it out. We're gonna have to get out there. You're gonna teach me how to catch some sheephead. Cause this past weekend I went out. We saw probably about 50, 60 sheephead, and I couldn't get one to do anything. I spooked them all. So Gustavo's been fishing the Miami River with no success. Top water for jacks, worms, but they went to sleep. Man, they probably moved out. They got nervous with this storm coming. They probably they probably evacuated too early. But yeah, so let's talk about launches in St. Bernard and Plaquemines Parish. Give you guys some ideas on where you can launch for this kayak tournament. So, starting at the extreme northern end, I don't know why anybody would launch here, but you got Parish Road, you got a couple launches, Bait Incorporated, Eddie Pinto's, and then you also got what is this? Fisherman's Friend. So yeah, that's 3 launches starting in St. Bernard. Maybe you got a secret honey hole redfish. I don't think this is worth going in for the tournament. But don't let me steer you away from your honey hole. So then we're gonna go further south. We're gonna make our way to where redfish really are in kayak range. You got Reggio Marina. That's a good launch. You got combat launches all the way down the highway, the Delacroix Highway, all the way down to Serigny's. Wait, I passed up Serigny's. Why is Serigny's not on this thing? Serigny's is right up the road from Sweetwater. Well, I can't find it now. It's right up here somewhere. Where is it? Is it right here? Somewhere up in here. I don't even know where it's at. I don't know why it's not pinned on this map. You got Serigny's, and you've got Sweetwater Marina. Actually, I think that's Serigny's, and Sweetwater is down here. That's what it is. It's backwards. This is Serigny's, and this is Sweetwater, right here. I don't know why it's mapped out like that, but these 2 launches give you good access to a lot of red fishing, Lake Leary, all of this marsh down here. However far you want to go, you're gonna catch reds. So yeah, that's a decent area. And then the Reggio launch gives you access to all this marsh on this side, prime red fishing areas. You wouldn't be making a wrong choice if you went to these type of areas. only thing you have to think about if you're launching on this side is that the time it's going to take to get from here to get to the weigh-in on time, which is going to be way over here in on Belle Chase Highway by Hooters. So Hooters is right here. Hooters is right here, and so then you have to travel through the city, cross the bridge all the way around, or across the ferry down here to get back to, or in Belle Chase to get back to Hooters. So yeah, the Reggio Marina. Reggio Marina is, I think it's still $10. I think they have an honor box that's like right near the ramp. It's like right by the ramp. It's a honor box they have now. But yeah, what's his name moved out? The guy Mike. He used to be there, watching over the marina. I don't think he works there anymore. He's been going for a while now. So yeah, there's a little honor box. You just put my money right there. I think it's by this telephone. It's by this pole right here on that first ramp. Mark, Josh, yeah. Oh, that's what I was supposed to talk about. My trips I took over the past week since we last talked. But I was so excited about talking about the tournament, so we're gonna do it backwards. So I'm gonna talk about these launches, then I'll talk about what I was doing fishing. But I went out in the lake last Thursday, I think, Thursday afternoon, and we went looking for jacks. There's still no jacks on the South Shore, but we found like this huge school of ladyfish that were busting on top of like little glass minnows and stuff. So that's maybe what you saw. There's also a ton of mullets out there jumping, and it kind of looks like bait's getting crashed, but it's just a bunch of mullets jumping, Josh. But there's definitely a big school of ladyfish that were out there. So that might have been what you've seen busting the top. And there's generally just tons of bait in Lake Pontchartrain right now, and nothing eating it. So we might be setting up for like a killer fall if anything ever moves in. But yeah, let's get back on task. Let's see what I was saying. So then, all right, that's down the Delacroix Highway. But if you choose to go the other direction at the four-way stop, go down the Hopedale Highway, you get a few more launches. So I guess we're going to talk about this launch. There's a combat launch right here at Adams Ditch. It's a bit of a paddle, but once you get here, you get a nice group of marsh right there. Less pressured. It's kind of a sneaky little spot, but yeah, there's that. There's also a launch Campos Marina. I don't know, it's not marked here either, but Campos Marina is right here where you got the little wet spot. It's a free for kayakers. Go in there and buy you some ice and some snacks and some. Well, you can't buy bait for this tournament, but yeah, go buy you some ice from them when you launch. Or you can also combat launch. Stop and get your ice at Campos, and then go combat launch right here in this parking lot, which gives you a little closer, saves you, a few feet of pedaling. So that's always a good launch in St. Bernard Parish. And then finally, Pip's Place. No, alright, well they got two more. Pip's Place gives you access to the Hopedale Lagoon area. It's good red fishing in this area. It's open water, so if it's going to be windy, just some things to think about. It might not be the best place to launch. But there's definitely reds in this marsh here. I've had some really good days out there, but I don't know. I haven't been there recently, maybe in a few years. And then finally, Hopedale Marina. Hopedale Marina gives you access to the marsh down here. It also gives you access to Lena Lagoon, which has good red fishing, or the dam, or wherever you want to go. So those are all your St. Bernard Parish launches. I've never been to this launch before. I had to go check this out. I wonder how fresh it is. This might just be a good bass fishing launch, judging by all the grass. But alright, so on the east bank of the river, you can also go further south. There's a launch down here, Bechel's Marina. Bechel's down here in East Point Lahash. This gives you access to the marsh all out here, the other side of Delacroix, kind of. That's what I call it. But this whole area here holds good redfish. Perfect for sight fish. Well, maybe not for sight fish. The water's been kind of dirty on this side ever since the Mardi Gras Pass opened up. But wow, this picture is pre the pass, before the pass. Yeah, the pass opened up right here. So this area has gotten kind of dirtier, but it still holds a lot of good reds. So Point Lahash, Vessels Marina, that's down in Plaquemines Parish. And then there's also a ferry. So if you fish down here, you probably don't want to drive all the way back around the city to get back to Hooters, which is up in here somewhere. So you'll be down here. You don't have to drive all the way around. So there's a ferry that crosses the river down in Phoenix, somewhere up in this area. Where is it? I don't see it. I don't know exactly where it's at. But there's a ferry down here. Maybe it's not in Phoenix. Maybe it's down here in Point Lahash. Yeah, this is where it's at. It's in Point Lahash. This is the ferry. So you get on the ferry. You can cross the ferry over and then ride up 23 to go to Hooters if you want to do that. Or there's also the Belle Chase ferry, which is right here. The Belle Chase ferry jumps across the river in Belle Chase, and then that'll put you, if you're fishing the St. Bernard side, that'll put you right here on Belle Chase Highway. It's a straight shot right up to Hooters, which is not far, probably like a 10-minute drive. Yeah, shout out to Dan. He was ahead of me on the Belle Chase ferry tip. But yeah, so that's your options. Or you can drive around. It's not really that far. Especially if you're fishing close to like Reggio, Hopedale area. It's probably faster to go through the city than to take the ferries. But that's all stuff you got to consider when you're planning your attack for fishing this tournament. Alright, so now we'll move to the West Bank. Plaquemines Parish. Starting at the top, Myrtle Grove. I wouldn't recommend this area. Most of the marsh around that's close enough to Myrtle Grove is posted and is heavily patrolled. So I probably wouldn't launch here to fish this tournament. I wouldn't risk it. Even if you want some fish, I wouldn't risk it. So Myrtle Grove is kind of out of the picture, but I don't know. Fish at your own risk. I wouldn't do it though. So then we're gonna move further. The next one furthest moving south is what is this? Lake Hermitage. The Bayou Log Cabin says a launch. There's also another little launch across the bayou right here. Lake Hermitage is a pretty good area. There's a lot of marsh. You can go either way, north, south, east, or west. Just lots of area to cover. It's kind of an underutilized area, so it's good kayak fishing. It's not super pressured. All these dots, I don't know. I don't think you can use the West Point Lahash Marina anymore. And this place is off limits to Magnolia. So we're gonna move down to Grand Bayou. Grand Bayou Road is a good combat launch. It's free. And there's lots of good marsh in this area. I've done well here in the past. And it's a nice little marsh area right here. And then if you go down the road a little bit further, there's a Happy Jack Marina. And that'll give you access to a little bit further south. You won't have to paddle all the way across. But all this area is kind of one big area. So Grand Bayou, Happy Jack, it's all accessible from either of these launches. It just depends on which side you want to fish. Is where you want to launch. You know, whatever's close. So you want to save your legs. This is another one that's, I don't know about this pumping station right here. Maybe go back and check it out and see if you can get in. I don't fish there. I've never been there before. Then we got Port Sulphur behind the elementary school, the fire station. Turn in right there, go all the way to the back. This is another free launch. You got a lot of area to cover. You can just tons of marsh around here. And there's definitely some reds to be had. Wait, here, Dan's coming with some info on Grand Bayou Road that I've never, that I didn't. Yeah, so yeah, upriver Grand Bayou is Magnolia, which is kind of off limits now. So this area to the north up here is a no-no. It used to be really heavily fished by kayakers, but the owners got fed up and shut it down. So make sure you take care of any of these areas you're fishing in, because they can be shut down at any time. So be respectful of the areas you're fishing, the launches you're using, especially if you combat launching. Maybe pick up a little bit of trash, or leave it better than you found it, because access is always is not a given. So take care of where you're launching. So yeah, where were we? Poor sofa behind the school. It's not the high school anymore. I think it's the elementary school now. So yeah, that's a good area. Lots of dense marsh. A lot of marsh close to the launch if you're not fond of making a long paddle. But if you do want to make a long paddle, you can go down the Sulphur Canal, and it's just endless marsh. You can never fish it all in a kayak. Just tons of stuff that you can get to. All right, let's keep moving. We're gonna keep moving further south. You got the launch here. I don't know why anybody would use Delta Marina to launch a kayak, but it's doable. You can launch here, pedal down the Empire Canal or whatever this is called, and go out the lock, and then you got a bunch of open water. I don't know about this launch. This is not the best red fishing launch. Maybe if you were trout fishing, you can go out in the bay here and do a little trout fishing, but for redfish, I don't know about this area. Maybe you can go north. I don't know. Shoot across to these islands. There's a little marsh here too, but that's a launch. Got Joshua's. I don't know if you watch some of my videos, you know how I feel about Joshua's. Really good fishing. Really good for beginners. And there's some good fish down there in Joshua's. This might be on my short list of areas I might fish for this tournament. So that's always an option. I know I'm probably boring y'all. We're just gonna cover the launches though. This is all useful. You don't have to fish this tournament to check out these launches. Yeah. So if you're just interested in fishing a new spot, all these launches are good for kayakers, boaters, and even some of these spots are good bank fishing spots. Most of these are good bank fishing spots. So yeah, go check them out. This is all down Highway 23 now. We're going further towards Venice. So yeah, Joshua, you can fish to the north along the bank here, or to the south. There's some marsh to get into. You can even shoot across. This is not very far of a paddle across open water, and you got the Indian. What's this called? I think they call this like the Indian Mound Marsh or something like that. So yeah, a lot of water to cover. This tournament has like almost endless opportunities. It makes it kind of challenging because you don't know. You're gonna have to just narrow it down in your head and just decide to fish a spot. Because you're not gonna be able to fish everywhere. You're not gonna be able to. I don't know. You got to figure out where the best fish are in your head, and just be confident in that area. Catch your two best fish. There's always the pumping stations. I think these are all getting locked up now. You can't really fish them. So I don't know. Fish those. Check those out at your own risk and your own time. There's a launch right here at Yellow Cotton Bay. So at this pumping station, you can see the little ramp there. I think it's like $10 you gotta pay. The guy sits out there in the morning. You gotta pay him. And then you got some marsh down here. It's really the only marsh. Otherwise, unless you really want to shoot all the way across Yellow Cotton Bay, which might be worth it. I don't know. And then we got a few more combat launches to finish up. So once you get down to Venice, you get to Tidewater Road. There's a combat launch right here in the bend. You can shoot out here and fish along the Roseau Canes. Cool fishing down there. Little different scenery. What up, Jim? We just talking about some launches down the road. Down 23. So then there's another one at the end of, I think this is Coast Guard Road. I think. But yeah, there's a combat launch right there. You can see it better on street view maybe. But yeah, you cross that first little road, and then there's this culvert right here. You can launch your kayak and then go out and fish this area here. Good red fishing. Trout getting there in the fall, later fall. And then, there's just a bunch of little combat launches along the road down here. And then you can fish out up this way along the shorelines. and then towards the wagon wheel over here. So yeah. So I think that kind of does it for the launches. Of course, there's a bunch of combat launches that I didn't cover, and people probably got secret launches and spots. But yeah, those are the big major ones, and those will get you on the winning fish. If you, I'm pretty sure the winning fish are gonna be caught out of one of these launches that I just covered. Hopefully, it's the one launch that I launch at. But yeah, so I did a little pre-fishing though this week. Well, this past week. I went down to we fished like the Port Sulphur area. Didn't really like what I saw, but the water was a little dirty, so there wasn't much sight fishing going on. But what I was able to do was I was able to like kind of just key in on the movements of the reds and the way the reds were behaving, which was kind of interesting. The reds were really lazy. The reds they weren't really crushing bait or crashing bait and jumping out the water or doing any action like that. They were just kind of just sitting there minding their own business, and when you would pull up into a pocket, you could pull up into, well, first of all, we fished like a lot of the main shorelines, something like this. We would fish along these main shorelines, and there wasn't much action, anything to see there. But when you would pull back off of the main pockets, and you would get into areas. No, this is not good. This is not where we were, by the way. This is just an example. You would pull back into areas like this, and you would get back in these little coves right here. There'd be like one red sitting back there, and maybe you could see it if you stood up, or you could just see like maybe just a little ripple or just a little slight action movement. That was the fish. And but they were just real lethargic. They weren't chasing bait. I don't think they could really see the bait very far away, so you would have to put it right on their nose and kind of just hop it right in front of them. And sometimes they would react, sometimes they wouldn't, but they wouldn't spook, so you would get a couple casts in. So if you saw that fin or that little swirl, you would cast in front of them, and they wouldn't really jump on it. You had to kind of like entice them into hitting. But I just think it was more a fact that they weren't able to see the lure very far away, so you had to get it within that range where they could jump on it. Any questions? I know I've been talking a lot. Nobody really saying that. Anybody still here? I'm just rambling. Yeah, so I learned a little bit on this trip, something I had never really noticed before, but being in the kayak allowed me to really just slow down and work the shoreline. I wasn't passing up anything too fast, and so I was able to kind of key in on those little subtle tells that those reds were giving me. One of them that I caught, like, barely had the tip of his tail sticking out the water as he was cruising along the bank, and I thought for a minute, I was like, man, that's a mullet cruising right there. But I just cast anyway. It ended up being like a 24, 25-inch red, and it was very similar to all the other ones that I caught. Like, it would just be like a little subtle ripple or a little subtle swirl that wouldn't necessarily trigger as a redfish, but they were definitely, they were reds, and they were, keeper reds. They weren't just small fish. So just be mindful of that when you're out there on the water. What up, Joe? Yeah, I think that the warm water still is having an effect on them, even though it's getting closer. We're getting closer to having it cool down a little bit. I think once this tournament happens at the end of September, we got a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks. Once that happens, the water is going to be cooled off a fair amount, and those fish are going to be feeding. So the patterns that are happening right now may not hold up for with the tournament. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. So you really just want, while you're pre-fishing, you want to just find a concentration of fish. You want to find a group of fish that you think is going to hang around and be catchable on tournament day and be the right size. It's interesting, this the new rule they put in where the fish has to be 22 inches. So they've upped the slot from the standard legal slot limit to a bigger slot. So it's gonna make it interesting. I mean, if you weren't catching big fish, you weren't gonna win anyway. So I guess they're saving some fish lives. All right, so here we go. We got a question from Joe. Do I ever use tiny crankbaits to catch sheephead? No, I've never tried that. I've caught a few on soft plastic, and in the wintertime is where there's this. They'll hit we'll be trout fishing over oyster beds, and they'll hit the sheephead will hit a mirror dean, like the little small original size one. They'll definitely crush that. My brother's caught a few on that. But other than that, that's the extent of my my lure fishing for sheephead. Like every now and then I'll be sight fishing. I'll pitch in front of one and it'll just jump on the plastic. But other than that, they're just so spooky. They're hard to nail down with plastic or lures, artificial lures. Anybody had any success with sheephead on artificial lures? What's the secret? What's the approach you take? Because I think it's more about spooking them more than getting them to hit the lure. Oh, so you're saying they're more likely to hit it early? You've seen videos of guys pulling tiny crankbaits, huh? Well, I know they sell this lure. They sell this lure from Australia. I think they've been moving it into this market a little more lately. But it's called a cranker crab. Yeah, here's the one my brother. Well, one of the first ones my brother caught on the Mirrodine. But the past few times we've been to this area in the wintertime, fishing those oyster reefs, he's caught multiple on this Mirrodine. So man, this is similar to a small crankbait. It's a small profile. Caught them on chatterbaits and spoons. There must have been a big school of them. I don't know. They're just so skittish. They always like you can sneak up on them, you can get within casting range and put it right on his nose, and as soon as the lure hits the water, they just take off. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I tell you what though, if you got live shrimp, you can sight cast them with live shrimp. They'll jump on a live shrimp. No problem. They'll do that. Yeah, I've never had any luck catching them on anything that's moving like that though. I've only caught them on just soft plastics, just jigging the bottom and get lucky that one is hungry or aggressive or something like that. But yeah, so what else we talking about? Cranker crab. Oh, that's what I wanted to look up. I don't know how many people have seen them. It's a real cool looking lure. The cranker crab's it's very small, first of all. I lost it. It's very small, and these claws here are made of foam. I don't know if you can kind of make it out, but these claws are made of foam, so as it sits on the bottom, the claws raise up off the bottom, and that's where the hooks are. So if that sheephead tries to grab that claw, he's gonna get hooked. And there's a few guys, kayak fishermen out in Florida who've been using them. Matthew Van. He's been having some success catching sheephead on this lure. I mean, it looks just like a little crab, a little fiddler crab, or a little small blue crab. And the guys in Australia, they fish for a fish that's very similar to a sheephead, and that's what these lures are designed for. So it works. I guarantee you it works. I'm gonna have to grab a few. I'm gonna have to pick up a couple. What up, deputy? Man, we're gonna have to get out there on that water one of these days, man. It's starting to cool off. We're gonna definitely get out there. What up, Rougarou? Shout out to Rougarou. That's whose video we were watching earlier. We was checking you out on the pier at night, man. Go subscribe to Rougarou. He's a professional videographer, filmer. He makes good looking videos and catches fish consistently. But yeah, that's that secret secret sheephead bait right there. But I'm gonna have to go check out those small crankbaits. I'm gonna have to see what that's all about. Who was that with the small crankbaits? Joe Blow. Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. Otherwise, if that don't work, I'm gonna get me a spear gun because that'll definitely catch them. There've been a few guys fishing, spearing them in Lake Pontchartrain. I've been trying to get a trip together with a guy, but we just haven't had our schedules hook up. But as soon as I do that, there will be a video coming out of me spearfishing and spearfishing for sheephead. But yeah, hey Doug, you should come out to the tournament on the 28th. It's gonna be down in the weigh-in is at Hooters on Belle Highway. It's a 2 redfish stringer, 22 to 27 inch redfish. So the slot is a little bit bigger than the regular. Hello? What? All right. Well, wait. How far ago? What was the last thing y'all heard? Is it back? It looks like it's back on my monitor right there. Somebody put a thumbs up if it's back. Let me know. Just keep talking. Oh, there we go. That's what I like to see, Doug. I see you down there then, buddy. Show us how it's done. Cool. So look, we got Doug is in. Dan is in. Yeah, come to the weigh-in at Hooters then. If y'all ain't fishing, y'all can just come to the weigh-in. I'll be there. Come check out the fish people caught. See how they do in the kayaks. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed by the size of some of these reds that bring it in. Yeah, it's gonna be Hooters on Belle Highway, Saturday the 28th at from 2 to 3 p.m. That's the weigh-in time. So yeah, we'll be down there. Or jump in if you got a kayak. Just jump in. It ain't nothing to be afraid of, man. Everybody has a chance if you put that line in the water. It's a 2-fish stringer, so it's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be as hard as catching a 5-fish string or a 5 solid fish. You only gotta make 2 up here. But all right, guys. So I hope y'all got y'all questions ready. We're gonna open up the phone line. It's the number is 504-534-5040. If anybody wants to call in and ask a question, 504-534-5040. Anybody want to ask a question on air? All right, let's get rid of that. What I'm doing now. Bang. But yeah, guys, we're gonna have a good time on 28th in that tournament. Oh, what else was I talking about? So yeah, I told y'all about my trip I took. Um, told you about my trip I took on what was that? Sunday. The tournament you can launch anywhere. The tournament you can launch anywhere in Saint Bernard and Plaquemines Parish. So I think you can launch. Let's go back to the rules. Let's see what the rules say. You can launch at 6 a.m. You can launch at 6 a.m. anywhere in Saint Bernard and Plaquemines Parish, Deputy. All right, well, let's go back to the map then, Dan. I'm sorry, I'm like juggling like 5 different things right now. So, any trout being caught? I think the trout are starting to move in. So, yeah, both of those questions kind of coincide together. The trout are going to start to move back in like any day now. They're just going to show up. And I saw a couple reports today about people catching them. Along with Devin Dimon, if y'all don't follow him on social media, on his Louisiana Fish blog, he puts out a lot of great information. He has a YouTube channel too. Follow his channel. He put out like a whole fishing trip detailing where he was fishing, what he was catching them on, how he caught them. So that's always good to see how other people are catching fish. So, but yeah, I saw a report today on his Facebook group. People are catching trout under birds in this little cut right here. So this kind of sets up like this is a man-made cut, but this is kind of like the natural cuts that where the shrimp migrate through. So this is just a big bayou pretty much where the water flows and the shrimp are gonna start to migrate out of. And so then the trout know that, so they're gonna sit in here and wait for the shrimp to ride that outgoing tide. And they're going to just come up and feed in the corners, in the eddies and stuff like that. So yeah, people have been catching a few in here. So they're definitely trout migrating in, or the resident fish are starting to get on the pattern. And they're going to be joined by the fish that were out in the bay spawning. So if you just look out, I just like to look at this area because it's an area I fish a lot. So it's applicable for all these areas. It's the same thing. It all looks the same. So trout right now are out here, Chandelier Sound. They've been out spawning all summer. Comfort Island, this whole area where the salty, clean water is. They've been out here spawning. So now they're gonna start moving back inside. Now that the spawn is pretty much over, the last full moon in September is when the spawn ends. So the easiest way for them to move inside is to ride these major bayous inside. So just think about it like streets and roads in the city. You know, you got your I-10, and you got your Canal Street, Claiborne, whatever else, right? So you're gonna ride on like the fastest road. You're gonna ride I-10 as far as you can go, and then you're gonna get off and go to your little house and get off the exit and go to your house. So just look at it like that. So this is a major Bayou La Loutre, whatever this is. Yeah, this Bayou La Loutre. They're gonna ride this in, and most of the fish are gonna be in here. And then some are going to get off the exit, right? So if you get off this exit, this is a little smaller cut. But see how this water is funneled through here? This is really fast moving water. It's really fast moving water right here. So the shrimp migrating out aren't going to be... shrimp are not very strong swimmers. So they use the tides to get out of the marsh. They use the tides to get out of the marsh. So as the tide falls in the fall, the shrimp ride the strongest part of the tide, and they ride it out of the marsh as the trout are riding into the marsh. So that forms good feeding opportunities, especially when the tide is really strong. Like you see this strong tide line. The shrimp aren't very strong swimmers, so the trout, they can swim through these tide lines. They're pretty good swimmers. So they know that if they catch the shrimp jumbled up in these tide lines and confused, it's an easy meal. easy picking. So you want to set up on like corners like this where there's good tide flow coming. The shrimp are bouncing off of this wall here, and the trout are just gonna be sitting there waiting to feed up on the shrimp, pretty much, Dan. That's the best I could describe it. Where this happens in Kayak range is another question. Maybe Hopedale ain't the best spot to do this at in Kayak range. Let's see, where would I go? Grand Bayou. That might be a good spot to go. So you got Grand Bayou on the west bank. We talked about this launch earlier. You got this major bayou here, and you got a few other bigger bayous that flow a lot of water. So those might be good spots to go in Kayak range to find this pattern. That might be a good spot. Where else? Maybe Lake Hermitage too. You got the bayou that runs through here, and you got a couple other like major cuts where a lot of water flows through. Weather? I don't know. I haven't looked at the weather for this weekend. I don't know. Let's see. What's the weather looking like? The forecast. The weather should be getting better and better as we move further and further into the fall. It's going to get stable. That hot water is going to cool off, and the hot air is going to cool off too. That's what I'm waiting for. Belle, no. I mean, the trout are going to move in there eventually. The trout are going to move in there eventually. And the Sulphur Canal right here is actually a pretty big bayou too, right? You got a lot of water moving between. So yeah, that's a good area too. It's just, I was looking for somewhere that was like close in Kayak range. All sunny and low winds. Yeah, that sounds like fall right there. Sounds like prime time fall fishing. I was about to talk about. Yeah, I do have a video coming from the trip we took on. What day was that? Saturday. So Saturday afternoon, I got off work early. Me, Dan, and my brother Colin, we launched out of Fort Pike, and we went to do a little jack fishing / red fishing. So we started off. We went and we ran into Lake Catherine. We just fished the shoreline. We just picked a random shoreline off of Unknown Pass. So I think the wind was blowing in this general direction. The wind was blowing this general direction, so we just started right here and just drifted with the wind down this shoreline. And we got thoroughly schooled by Dan. Me and my brother, Dan, were fishing. Dan caught 2 reds in this little stretch from like between here and here. And me and Colin came up with 0. Well, I came up with 0s. Colin caught, I think, 2 or 3 ladyfish. So yeah, Dan showed us how it was done. I think Dan's secret was he was fishing a popping cork with a voodoo shrimp underneath, and me and my brother were fishing just jigs, hopping them on the bottom and swimming them. And those redfish were lethargic, a lot like what we found on Sunday. The reds aren't really chasing right now. They're not really crushing bait like I'm accustomed to them doing. It's the water's real hot, so they're just trying to save their energy, and it's just too hot for them to be running around like they do. So then I guess we fished that for like an hour, maybe. It started to get late. We launched about 5 in the evening, so I guess it was probably about 6:30. We decided to go hop over and do some jack fishing, and we found like the sickest school of jacks ever. They were just circling in a circle, and my brother actually brought the drone with him this time, and he was able to get some footage. Let's see, maybe I could pull up. Let's see, bear with me right here. I'm gonna pull up some footage. Let's see. It's gonna be kind of raw, but it's gonna be very raw. But we'll give you a little sneak peek of the drone footage we got of this crazy school of jacks. It was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I've never seen them like that before, where they're just stationary, just milling around in a circle. It reminded me of some stuff you see on TV, but I was like really there, looking at it. I'll turn the audio off. Let's see if I can find the spot where, oh, it's not this one, it's the other one. Hold up. So yeah, we ended up, well, I didn't end up catching any. This story keeps, has like a common theme to it. I didn't catch anything, but my brother, he took the first cast when we got in this area. He kind of just blind casted on him, and almost immediately he got a blow up. And then, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, so then I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of far away. It's not enhanced. But yeah, my brother took his first cast, hooked up immediately. Dan followed right behind him after he hooked up, and Dan hooked up, and so we had a double jacks. So yeah, we got some pretty cool footage of that. So then they both got those two in, and then we decided that we were going to try to do it again. So then my brother sent the drone up, and he was able to locate the jacks on the drone, and we were able to cast into the school by using the drone to see the jacks. So here, right here, I don't know if you can see right here, like dead center on the screen. I don't know, can I zoom in? Can I zoom in on this? I don't know how to zoom in on this little app. Zoom. No. All right, let's see. But yeah, I don't know if you can see them right there. That's all the school right there. So yeah, actually, Deputy Dan gave me the footage that he filmed. Here we go. He's zooming in now. Dan gave me the footage that he filmed, and I used the drone footage, and I'm going to splice it together. We're going to have like a special guest directed episode on the FishxScale channel. Whoa, it's lagging. It's lagging really bad. But here, we'll go a little further. We'll let y'all see the hookup. I think we got it in this video. But the jacks are kind of off to the side of the camera. Right here. You can kind of see them flashing. It was sick. So I'm going to edit this up and like make it clearer so we can see it a little better. And they won't be like off to the side. But you can see how many fish there are. There's probably like 20, 30 fish right there just sitting there. Just waiting for us to throw a lure in there. All right, so there, that's Dan just cast it in there. Fish is coming over to it. Popped it once, there's one hitting it. And they just go crazy over it. And then you're going to see the school just go crazy. So I think he's hooked up at that point. Yeah, it was sick. So yeah, that's pretty much the video that's coming. No need for me to post it now. I just showed you everything. But yeah, guys, so yeah, shout out to Rig PFA and Spoon Man. I don't know Spoon Man. I don't think I've ever met him before. But shout out to Spoon Man too then. If he's down here doing this thing in Louisiana, we're gonna support all the Louisiana fishermen, especially the kayakers. The kayakers, they do it the hard way and still catch more fish than most of the boaters. Or like, yeah, we got some pictures. I think I closed the Instagram though. Let's see. We got some pictures up there. Here we go. This is the first one Colin landed. Solid jack. And then this is one of my reds from Sunday. I was throwing a little bass jig, a white and black bass jig, 1/4 ounce. That was the ticket, and they were really inhaling that thing. I had never used a jig like that before. They work really well. Yeah, I'm excited about this drone. We got to get the drone up there more often. I can see it. I got a lot of ideas for it now. Like the trip we took last week when we were catching reds, we could have used that drone and definitely seen those reds up on that shoreline in the Biloxi Marsh. Especially those bulls that were crushing bait and cruising. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what we've been doing this week. And that's what I got coming up. So probably the next few weeks I'm gonna be fixated on making a good showing in this tournament. Okay, deputy. I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm gonna type it in as soon as I log off. Spoon Man. But yeah, I'm gonna be fixated on doing well in this tournament. So I guess the next couple weeks will show. I'll talk about my progression and maybe I even tell us where I've been fishing and what I've been seeing, and see if we can get on some tournament winning redfish. All right, guys. So anybody else got any questions? 9:30. We've been on here for like an hour now. Anybody got any questions before we close this thing out? I get out of here. Nobody wanna. Nobody wanna say something live and in person? Yeah, Rick does. Rick does use his drone. I like those. That he had a video where he just did nothing but drone shots in Pensacola, and you could just see everything down under the water. Like I wish the water was cleaner here. That would have been amazing if the water was clean. Um, if the water was clean in the lake, we could have seen those jacks. All right, yeah, guys. Good luck this weekend. Looks like we're setting up for some good weather. Good fishing weather. It's getting it to be the fall. It's getting it to be the fall, the best time of year to fish. So if you haven't been fishing, lately, or if you're not going to go fishing in the next month or two, then you're not a real fisherman. You need to get out there soon and go enjoy what we got down here. All right, Wash. I'm looking forward to the call next week, man. You're going to give us a perspective on what you've been doing. Fly fishing. Most of us down here don't even attempt that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe you're going to make me pull mine out and go fly fishing. They got some carp in the canal by my job that look like they might eat a fly. But all right, guys. Thanks for coming out again. Hopefully it does cool off in the next week or two. That'll be nice to have like a little early fall. Get the hurricane season out the way. Let the fishing season begin. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all next Wednesday, 8:30. I'll be here. Yeah, Colin retired from fishing. He don't kayak fish no more. He's too lazy to kayak fish, and like he don't want to wake up before. Wait, let me see what time he wake up. Like 10:30 in the morning. If it's like before 10:30, he don't want to even go no more. That's why he went on a 5 o'clock in the afternoon trip, but he wouldn't wake up to go on in the morning trip the next day. Red's on the fly rod. I might have to try that out. That probably would make me a better fisherman. All right, guys. I'll see y'all next week. Come with some topics to talk about, some good questions. Come with some questions I can't even answer. Then we'll get a good show. All right, guys. Good night. Be safe. See y'all next Wednesday. Tight lines. See you on the water. Peace.